Welcome, everyone. This is Brother Doug. I am with my sister Sadie, my sister Shoshana, my brother Dennis below me, if you can see him. Also, our sister Sally, all the way at the bottom, if you can see them. I'm not too sure. Sometimes you can't, since they're on the phones. So we are the Awakened by Yahuwah Assembly. We are going to be getting to a study that is focusing on the end times, and I think we'll be calling this the Great Tribulation / the First Resurrection. So it's going to be like a sequential study of the order of the events in the end times, and that's what we're going to be studying today. So first, if whoever's listening and watching, if you will turn with me to Revelations chapter 7, we'll get started. Here we go, and I'll put my share screen for the viewers and listeners so that you can kind of follow with the group. So here we go. We're going to start at Revelations chapter 7, verse 1. And here we go. And it says, "And after these things I saw 4 Malachim, or 4 angels, standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Elohim, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, Malachim, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the serpents of our Elohim in their foreheads." Now I'm just going to check something real quick. I want to see how the Sefer reads this. Okay, actually it's interesting. Our Yah in their forehead. Interesting. All right, so verse 4, "And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Yashrael. Of the tribe of Yehuda were 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were 12,000. So basically, verses 1 to 8 give you of each tribe how many are sealed of each tribe of the 12 tribes of Yashrael. So we gave you that, though, as a basically a foundation. With this study is showing that that before the plagues come, that his servants have to be sealed. The special group, the 144,000. Now we're going to go to Revelations. Now, correct me, Sister Shoshana, we're going to Revelations 3 next? Or?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Just make sure with the order. All right. So Revelations chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. And it says, "I know your works. Behold, I have set before you an open door, and no man can shut it. For you have a little strength, and have kept my word, and has not denied my name." Interesting. So this special group, body of Yahushua, has not denied his name.
This is the group called the Assembly in Philadelphia. I just wanted to add that. Sorry.
No problem. Don't need to apologize. Okay, can you say that again? You kind of cut out. I'm about to unmute myself so you can say that again.
Yeah, there are some times when you're cutting out too, so maybe you should mute all of us. But it's a verse before that. It says, "And to the messenger of the assembly in Philadelphia, write, he who is Kadesh, he who is true, he who has the key of Daoud, he who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens, says this." In other words, Yahushua speaking, "I know your works," and that's what you just read. It's the assembly in Philadelphia. I was just clarifying that.
All right. So, yeah, and I knew there was a reason why I was always an Eagles fan. Just putting a little joke out there. And let's see here. So we got to verse, I think I was just getting to verse 9 here. "Behold, I will make them of the congregation or synagogue of Hashatan of Gadriel, which say they are Yahudim, Judeans, but are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come to worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you. Basically, people claiming to be of the tribe of Yehuda but are not, that inwardly are not, and also possibly physically are not. So it could be spiritual and physical at the same time that he's referring to, which we would know as the religion of Zionism. So that's probably what he's talking about, Zionists right there. Because you have kept, and possibly the Edomites, as my sister Shoshana has pointed out to me before. Verse 10, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep you from the hour of temptation. Now, this is the whole focus on this study. The hour of temptation. What's the hour of temptation? The great tribulation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So this special group, this 144,000, this woman's being symbolized also in Revelations, is a specific assembly. Is, you know, a group within Yashrael that actually gets to escape the hour of temptation, the tribulation, who actually keeps those that are part of that group safe. While there might be many of the assembly that might have to go through the tribulation that are not part of that specific group. So basically he's saying, yep, go ahead.
And I want to emphasize that it says this group has not denied his name. They also have guarded his word and guarded his word of patience. And these are things that you should not take lightly. And especially, I know some people say, oh, his name's not important. His name is very important, because it says right here in verse 8 that if you don't deny his name, you're going to be protected. I just wanted to bring that out so that people would understand what this is saying. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, and just for not to go on too much of a rabbit trail, but if you look up John chapter 5, verse 43, he makes it pretty important that he came in his Father's name, not in his own name. So he does make a distinction that there will be another Messiah coming in his own name that people would receive, that his own people, the Yahudim, the Pharisees, would receive, and that is not him. So I think it actually is a lot more important than people think. All right, so now we're going to move on to Revelations 12, and we're going to get a little bit of a backstory here. It's a very interesting chapter in Revelations. So Revelations chapter 12, and it says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Now, I want to make a very clear distinction here. I know some people will say, that this is only end times here. At this very moment, John is being given a backstory he is giving him the backstory of actually Yahusha's birth. Now, the woman that is being travailing at this point, it's referring to Miriam, that she was a virgin. She gave birth to Yahusha as a virgin, and the dragon was after him, as you'll see later on in the next couple of verses. It says, she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain, be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. Okay, this is Satan, Gadriel, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads, and his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven. Now, I want to break this down because some people might not know what the scriptural definition of a star is. If you go to Revelations chapter 1, I believe it's verse 9 or verse 10, it talks about that stars are angels. So where it says in Revelations 12, verse 4, that a third part of the stars of heaven, he's talking about a third of the angels, a third of the sons of Elohim, or actually more accurately, in my Yahuwah translation actually says the sons of Yah are the angels. So basically, it's talking about that a third of the angels were cast down by Satan to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Now, this is obviously talking about King Herod historically made a decree to kill every firstborn male because he heard from his magi, his wise men, that this child was going to be born in the town of Yehuda, Judea, and that he would be the king of the Yahudim. And King Herod was possessed by Satan to make sure that Yahusha would not grow up to be the man that would rule nations with a rod of iron. And so as we continue here, Revelations 12:5, and she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Yahuwah and to his throne. Now, I believe that this timeline here, where it starts talking, it breaks it up in this verse and talks about that he was caught up to Yahuwah's throne. I believe that's talking about when Yahusha died and resurrected, he ascended up into heaven. And that's what it's talking about in verse 5. And then it says in verse 6, and the woman fled into the wilderness where she has a place prepared by Yahuwah that they should feed her there 1,203 score days. Now, for those that don't understand that, the meaning of the amount of days, it's actually 3.5 years in scripture, wherever it says, 1,230 days, it's talking about 3.5 years. So now basically this part here is talking about when her, Miriam, his mother and his stepdad, Joseph, took Yahusha as a baby into Egypt to flee from Herod. So basically that was a type of wilderness. So now as we go to verse 7 here, if anyone wants to jump in, just please let me know. I'll try to unmute you if you need to be unmuted.
I only muted myself because I noticed you were breaking up a little bit.
Okay. All right.
You're doing great, and this is exactly what it's referring to. And just continue, Doug.
All right. So, and there was war in heaven. Now, this is going to really go into one of the doctrines that I've kind of believed in at this point is when did Hashatan fall to the earth? And verse 7 says, and there was war in heaven. So the war in heaven, this is the timeline of where Michael and Hashatan are fighting. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, Hashatan, Gadriel, and the dragon fought in his angels, and he prevailed not, neither was there place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon, as the King James says, was cast out, the old serpent called the devil, Satan. Basically, Satan means in English the adversary, Hashatan, the adversary. Devil also means accuser, the accuser, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels, his malachim, were cast out with him. So the 1/3 that you see earlier in the chapter, this is the context right here. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Elohim. And let me just see, I want to check real quick in a different translation. It might actually say Yahuwah. Oh no, okay, so it is Elohim. All right. Of our Elohim and the power of his Messiah, for the accuser of our brothers is cast down, which accuses them before our Elohim day and night. So there you go. Satan's cast down after he loses to Michael. So at this point, when Yahusha is being born, he's already cast down to the earth at this point. And then it talks, and then that's where I'm going to really stop at. There's not much more. Oh, actually, no, I do want to go to verse 12 here. And right here it says, therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devils come down into you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time. So this can even be implied to our modern day, that he has a short time to get the apostasy, the falling away to happen, and which we're going to get into later in this study. And it says in verse 13, when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness. Now, this is where I believe it changes. This is where the focus changes to end times and to the special, the bride within the body.
If I may, I just want to bring out that this woman has always been Israel. but it was specifically the mother of Mashiach in the first part of this chapter. And now the focus turns to another part of Israel, which is the elect, that 144,000 mentioned in chapter 7. And that's the woman that's being given the 2 wings of the great eagle to fly into the wilderness, to the place where she's nourished for 3.5 years. And if you go ahead and read the rest of that, I'm sure you can carry on from here. Sorry, you are muted, Doug.
Sorry about that. I'm just going to hurry this up a little bit because we only got 6 minutes, so I would like to at least get Revelations 12 done before we do part 2. So I'm going to do this a little quicker. And the serpent was cast out of his mouth, water as a flood after the woman. Now this, I believe, is talking about armies, because in Scripture, water is a metaphor for multitudes. As you can see, we don't have time to get into that, but it's a metaphor. It's a term that Michael the archangel tells Daniel, also in the book of Daniel, that it represents peoples and nations. So just kind of think of that in this verse, that he's actually sending out nations or an army against the woman who would be the bride. And he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. And the earth helped the woman. The earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was angry with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Yahuwah and have the testimony of Yahushua Messiah. So now this is where it actually shifts to a different woman after she can't be chased after no longer. He goes after the remnant of her seed, which would be, I would guess, would be a different part of the body of Messiah. Would be, you know, kind of Yahushua mentions the greater in the kingdom, lesser in the kingdom. So could have a lot to do with the other believers in Yahushua being the remnant of the seed of this special group. So
if you go to Luke chapter 21, verse 36, you'll see that those who are going to be protected are a special group that's counted worthy.
All right, so Luke 1:36, we'll do that real quick. Got about 4 minutes. Watch ye therefore and pray always that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Adam. So basically we need to be prayerful, always watch for these things that are about to happen, and pray that we might be counted worthy to escape these things, meaning that Yahuwah is going to protect us, and to stand before Yahushua, the Son of Adam, the Son of Man. So please stay tuned, guys. This was part 1 of the end time study, the Great Tribulation / First Resurrection. We will be bringing to you part 2 very soon. Thank you for joining us, everyone. From everyone in the Awakened by Yahuwah Assembly, thank you for joining us. And hopefully you guys will be back for part 2. Shalom.
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 Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, so yeah, we just cut off the recording. We only had like 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Recording on.
Oh, they could see me. Hello.